Damn, women are a draw, says WWE with the big dollar sign. So WWE thinks women are a draw. Charlotte, big bucks. Charlotte Flair is said to sign one of the biggest contracts ever. I guess it's up to reports right now. No number has been there, but it's supposed to be the highest women's contract ever. And then Bayley just signed a big contract. Go ahead.
It also includes a tour bus, which she has reportedly had for a while now. Like, basically, it's just now getting out what was in the contract, sort of a thing. But that's where a tour bus came from. It's in her contract now. She gets a tour bus.
All right, first off,
and people are anticipating that a lot of wrestlers are going to start getting tour buses now.
It makes sense
because I mean it works for WWE because the way they travel isn't too rough on tour buses, anyways. Because the way they're already basically making it. It's just you're going to have a huge WWE convoy of fucking buses and semis now, man.
It's gonna be fucking. You get behind a WWE convoy, you're gonna be stuck in traffic for a while. I don't know. I feel like if you get your own bus, you've made it. To me, that's like a status thing. You know what I mean? A company gives you a bus, you're like, damn, Charlotte, as the kids would say, is balling.
Well, this has to be part of the Endeavor takeover, though, too, because like UFC fighters, I'm used to seeing the bigger UFC fighters in tour buses. I mean, there was the whole incident with Conor McGregor throwing stuff at one of the buses.
Yeah, but have you seen some of the nothing against UFC and MMA. I used to love UFC. I used to love MMA. I haven't watched it in a while. Probably it's because you have to pay ESPN Plus and then pay for a pay-per-view. It's just not my jam. Not my jam. Charge me once, buddy. Charge me twice. I'm out. I think the wrestlers' buses are way nicer. I mean, they did a tour of CM Punk's bus. I was like, damn. They're living like a rock star. CM Punk used to have a bus. I don't know if he still does. I wonder, though, if they get let go, do they keep the bus?
I don't think so. If it's in your contract you get the bus, there's no way you get to keep it.
Then no wonder why CM Punk is so angry once he left WWE.
he's like, I'll come back, but I want the bus. And
hell
like,
yeah, give me that bus.
And he points at Charlotte, and he's like, I know she has one.
He's like, I need a bus, you son of a goose. Man,
imagine you're getting
if I was a big celebrity, I would
contracts with Punk when he comes in, and unlucky he walks in as Charlotte's bus is pulling in. He's like, wait a second, buses are on the menu? wait. The first thing he brings up is, I'd like a bus again. I'm like, wait a second, what do you mean buses? We don't do buses here. And he's like, I just saw Sharp.
Yeah, like, I want my bus. Where is my bus? I want the same
Charlotte
exact
gets
bus.
A bus. I want the bus.
Oh man. Because like, here's the thing. I don't
Maybe
really want fancy
like
cars.
Slim Jim car.
Like me personally, if I was super successful, I wouldn't want a car. But if someone said, "Here's a driver and a bus," I'd be like, "What? What?" I'd be
calling. If I had to live on the road all the time, I definitely get the.
I would literally call you and be like, "You know that I'm on a boat." That would be me. Like, I'm on a bus, bitch.
I'm on a bus.
You're like, I know, you're driving from Atlantic City to Philadelphia. No, a real bus, not for the poorest, but for the riches.
I think though this sends a huge message because I've heard the common hit back of why women don't get times at different companies or why women aren't given good chances at different companies.
I read
because
comments.
Women aren't a draw. Women aren't a draw. Women don't make money for the company. People go to the bathroom during women's matches. But that's not it. It goes back to the connection thing. If you don't give the women enough time on TV to build a connection, people do not care about their matches. However, people were very invested in Rhea as a wrestler. People were very invested in Charlotte as a wrestler. And WrestleMania, they barely booked up to that. They barely did any story to build to that WrestleMania match. And it was still loved and people were super invested because they were attached to the wrestlers. And it's one of the matches that I personally remember the most from that WrestleMania was the women's match. The women are being undeniably shown that they're a draw with this. They would not have signed Charlotte to this contract just to keep her from going anywhere else, especially in the state other companies' women's division are in right now. There's no way they'd be like, yeah, let's give you one of the biggest contracts ever and a tour bus to keep you here.
And here's the thing. I'm not a sports entertainment guy. I'm a wrestling. So when it comes to the women or the men, as long as they can just go,
Yeah.
That's it. And I get a lot of heel heat on this on my Twitch stream. I'm a big Charlotte guy. I think Charlotte's one of the best female wrestlers, especially when it comes to WWE
Charlotte
style.
is very good.
It
Charlotte is great at also being able to just put on a good match with anyone, which I think is an underappreciated asset in a lot of fans, for a lot of fans.
Yeah. And let's check in on the sequel from last week. Tony
Well,
Khan.
hold on. I do want to.
All right, hold on.
I also on the topic of women being a draw, though, we also have to point out they also gave a really big contract to Bayley.
Yeah.
Like, it's not just Charlotte. There are a lot of women that they're now giving them big contracts, and you have to imagine Becky's going to get a big one. You have to imagine Triple H probably is trying to get Mercedes to come back.
Oh, she's getting a bus.
And she would get a big one.
Triple H is going to be the Oprah Winfrey of buses. You get a bus, and you get
he's going to bring back all his girls, I think it's great.
Here's my thing. I think you are a main eventer if you have your own bus. You're like, I'm the champ. Bitch, do you even have your bus? Get the fuck out of here.
The 4-horse buses,
dude. Asuka, hear me out. I love Asuka. 2 buses.
Asuka needs one with an arcade.
Hell yeah. A bus for an arcade and then a bus for her. It's like double bus.
And then she has to, every
bus.
week she should do a TikTok where she's like, okay, let me show you guys my arcade. And walks over to the entrance to her tour bus that's the arcade, opens the door, and then ends the TikTok and walks inside.
Well, I'm pretty sure they have.
They can never see inside.
I've been in Japan for 20 years, so I ask dumbass questions. But I'm pretty sure in America you have the bus, and then you have it connected, and there's another bus. So it's like a super long bus, but it has a twisty thing in the middle.
I don't know.
Oh,
but you have to imagine though that with how much they use Bianca Belair for publicity, for sending her around to do
she's
different things, she's gonna get a huge contract when it comes up.
All right.
You have to imagine that with Rhea Ripley and how massive Rhea Ripley is with social media, how much they're able to utilize her. The fact that Rhea and Dom essentially were a big part of carrying half of the storylines for over the last year up until until H fully took over. Like, Rhea's definitely going to get the same sort of a thing. So it's hard to deny women are a draw. It's just most companies don't view them as such.
All right, before we go to the sequel, Sid, next podcast, bus or not, and we'll say if they're bus worthy. We'll go through the WWE roster and say who's bus worthy and who's not worthy of a bus.
Bus, no bus.
Bus, no bus.
You know what we'll call it? We'll call it bussin'.
Bussin'. That's it. Next segment. Write this down. This is gold.
Kids love that.
This is gold. Because, we always pay attention to whatever happened last podcast. Speaking of that, a continuation of Tony Khan Hates Women Part 2. Let me just read something from their Discord real quick. Nothing new on Julia. It drives me crazy that she spells it with a G. And she's but moving on. Past that.
Yeah, is it Julia?
I've been calling her Gulia for 800 years. And not only have I been calling her...
Adam Sandler joke.
Not only have I been calling her Gulia for 20 years, I've been that dickhead that corrects people. But like, excuse me, it's Gulia. It's pronounced G. Anyway, nothing new on Gulia, aka better known as Julia, past that AEW has never made a serious play for her, and she had no conversation with AEW and is not considering them. It's WWE or staying in Japan. And Stardom's pissed off. Okay. So if you're a woman, you're getting buses or sushi. Tony, get your shit together, Tony. Get your fucking shit together, Tony.
One company's giving them buses. One company couldn't even give for the best women wrestler in the world 10 minutes in Wembley.
Tony.
Yeah, it was a 9-minute match. I don't know if you remember that.
I do. I was also thinking to the anyway,
the tournament,
the
Owen Hart Cup. Were you thinking that one?
There's so many bad examples. I don't know. I had a meltdown.
How about the 9 p.m. women's match?
How about this, Tony? Give up on the women or fucking have them. I don't know, man. I'm not
shocked. On one hand, I am shocked Julia's not getting any kind of serious offers. On the other hand, I'm not. the man clearly doesn't care about the women's division, and Julia's not known as a woman with a fat ass. And
now
that's pretty much his whole hiring style.
And Stardom is beyond pissed with him. Stardom's bad because they had to delete a company tweet, and in Japan that's like unheard of. They're like, all right, I'm sure like New Japan's like, can you delete that tweet? It's like, sure.
That's not a good look for us.
yeah. It's not like New Japan ever used Stardom for their own benefit at all.
I think this isn't at all a comment on how good Julia is, because Julia is very good.
Oh yeah, she's one of the best in the world.
And there's
right
no reason for her to stay in New Japan really, because she's done everything.
Well, she's mostly
in
Stardom,
Japan.
New Japan combo.
I mean Stardom. Yeah, that's what I mean.
Yeah.
I just in my head they're associated, but she's done everything in Stardom. I think she's done everything except maybe tag. I think tag. But
well, she could be the face of IWGP.
She's been Cinderella. She's been everything, dude.
Hopefully, President Tanahashi doesn't forget that. I love New Japan. We're gonna make our own IWGP Women's Championship. Oh, the ratings are gone and you're not drawing. What? You're still here?
Tony called him. Was like, I told you, ghetto.
President Tanahashi, you need to change that. You need to change it.